building. Matter of fact, Queens is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Queens, Queens is definitely in the building. You know what I'm saying? Um, Metta, thank you for joining me. I saw you at ALC's crib. That was definitely a good surprise because I ain't see you in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh shit, they go Ron. I ain't know if I could call you Ron because we go way back. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, we go
Like
way
we,
back, man.
like we go super way back, and I was talking to Gotti, and he was like, "Yo, you know what I'm saying? You need to have Ron," and I was like, "Hell yeah," because you like family. So of course, if we got you on, we're going to talk about sports and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Particularly, because you being the champion that you are. You know what I mean? We want to pick your brain a little bit about a couple of things because we interested. I didn't get a chance to play in the NBA. I was aspiring NBA, but I was more on the Spur website. You know what I'm saying? I ain't make it in there. You know what I mean? But when you first got into the NBA, like what was the culture like when you got in there? Was it hip hop already? Like, you know what I mean? Like, was it hip hop friendly and all of that?
Now, definitely, I want to just say thanks for having me. We
Oh yeah.
I grew up on 10th Street, but spent most of my time on 12th Street. You know, my cousin Adam and everybody. So
Yeah.
I grew
Yes,
up
yes.
knowing your family and your sister and your mom and your brother. And then also,
Yeah,
I didn't even realize that you was like when I was a kid, like 8 years old, 6 years old, and I was going in and out of Aunt Deborah and house and
yeah,
everything. I didn't even know you was making music. I just knew you just because I knew you like as a kid. But then you get older, then like you get 11 years old, 12 years
yeah,
old, then you're like,
yeah,
damn, like what? These things is popping, like what? And that it became super inspiring. I remember being on the block when you left at some point in time. I don't know what year that was, but you was
yeah.
doing your thing. I didn't know. I had no concept of you on tour and stuff. But
Right.
just being on the block, practicing, in the same court where you was raised at, born at, man. It's just I'm super proud to be where you from, man. I always tell people all the time, man. Because sometimes I walk with a different swag because like I'm from y'all block, I just had to, say that this is the honor, man.
Oh
This is an honor
man,
to be on the show with you.
the pleasure's all mine. And I remember, what I'm saying, watching you grow up early on because yes, I used to hang with your older cousins and all of that. And I used to see you from time to time, and particularly seeing you playing ball on the block. You know what I'm saying? And what I remember the most is you and your pops playing ball on the block in the freezing cold. The only ones out there like really like going hard. You know what I mean? And it never even really crossed my mind, like that you was really going that hard. I just thought like, yo, son is nice. Like he going busy. Like early on when you was playing basketball, on the block with your pops, like just really going in. Did you have the NBA on your mind at that time?
Well, initially, not really. Initially, because back in the days, everybody was outside. We played freeze tag, manhunt,
Right.
catch one, catch all that stuff. So, but my dad brought me on the court, and back in the days when we was outside, you had to earn your spot on that court that's next
For
to 20, next to the
facts.
train station on 12th Street.
Facts.
So I was a young kid, just couldn't wait to get a shot up. So my dad had me out there, and then when I found out I loved the game, my dad would go to work at Cola Hospital on Roosevelt Island. So when
Yep.
he would come home, it's the only time I got a chance like to really get that working. So then he would bring me outside, and that's
Yeah.
why we was outside because that's the only time we had because
Yeah. Yeah.
he was working. And I
And
wasn't thinking about going to the NBA. I was more just thinking about just beating my dad, honestly. You know,
word up. And your pops is a big guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think there's a lot out there that could beat him. So for you at a young age to be like, yo, I'm just trying to beat my pops. Like if you could handle him, I could see how you was, Debo in the NBA because they don't even understand, you know what I'm saying, your pop's stature, you know what I mean? And what you was going up against, let alone growing up in a crazy neighborhood like QB.
yeah, definitely. I mean, he definitely was strong. My dad actually, um, probably could have went pro, but he's a professional boxer. He's 2-1 on BoxRec. So boxrec.com is like a website where all the boxes are at. And I didn't even know that my dad was on it. And I had to call him up one day. I said, yo, Dad, you 2-1 professional. He's like, what? I said, yeah, they counted your records. Like, word. And I also remember you, like, I got a fond memory of you when I always tell you when you played at 111. I was on Capone team. I remember those games clearly. And Hav was the best. I was probably 8 or 9 or 10, one of those ages. Hav was the best on his team. I had the burgundy shirts.
Yeah,
I was on Capone team. Capone had the green shirts. Well, who else? AD. God bless the dead.
It's AD.
He was on the yellow shirts, and then you had Ronald and 12. They was on us. They had the red shirts. It was just 4 teams, and I think you was the best on that team. I think you was the best on your team.
I mean, you know, I was They used to call me Cool Breeze because I used to run faster than the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got a couple 20 pieces. I remember.
Yo, that's crazy that you remember that, man. Because you know, in the hood, that's all we did was just play ball, like you said, and play tag, play ball, and it's crazy because remember Nitty. I mean, he was nice. He was nice in ball. You know what I'm saying? His handle was crazy. Cedric Holder. You know what I'm saying? John Roach.
Yup.
Troy Battle.
Right.
Lloyd, you just about to mention Lloyd, right?
Yeah, Lloyd Newton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lloyd Newton. And that was crazy. You know what I mean? Like, God bless the dead. At that, I never even knew that it could be that kind of violence at games. Like, did you experience that kind of violence at away games? Like with nobody, of course, dying, but like fights going out if y'all won or not?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, we all know the same people, but you know, sometimes we have to go to the games, and I just wanted to play everywhere. So if I go to a game with, you know, a certain group of people, you know, they come in ready to the game because you just never know where we going. You never know where we gonna go, you know. And we wasn't trying to like not play. We played everywhere. The craziest time was being in Hamels. I love Far Rock. I grew up in 7115 in my summer times. So I was in 7115 next to Edgemere Hamels. So we was like 10 years old or 11. So my man, so we was in there from 7115. We walk across the way. We did our thing, and then because we was playing hard, we wasn't backing down, even though it was rough in the, you know, in between those gates. And then my man got hit over the head with a OE 40-ounce bottle. 12 years old. That was crazy because, like, you know, at the time we was just in survival mode. So once he got hit over the head, we just started running in circles because we didn't know which way the exit was because it was the gate. Right. It was like one small exit. So I did about like 3 circles. We got our man, and then somehow we found the exit, got through the exit, just ran back to 7115. That was the craziest shit that I probably experienced as a baller. And sometimes in Gershwin Park too. Gershwin Park was kind of, before it was the Gershwin, now is like kind of commercial.
Where's Gershwin Park at?
Gershwin's in Brooklyn.
Okay. All right.
The Gershwin we played in was like a whole nother league with no security.
Right. Right now it's probably like fully protected, and you know, it's like kumbaya moments and everybody's cool.
It's still kind of, it's super thick though. It wasn't as crowded as it was when we played. It was like maybe 10, maybe like 50 people will show up. Now it's super crowded, but there's the same lineage of the league. So, but yeah, you know, try to avoid those situations.
I mean, absolutely, because you know it's all about, you know, having a good time and, you know, showing off your skills and things of that nature. But you know, when you come from where we come from, you know, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? And you don't get to play at a high level unless if you are able to endure that toughness. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be on there be like, oh, he fouled me. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not going to get to the next level. So, I mean, they probably didn't even know, like, you when you was like coming up and up on how prepared you was, because number one, you from QB, one of the illest projects in the world. Like I'm definitely proud to be from there. You know what I mean? We got Nas and, you know, CNN and, you know, a whole Marley Marl, a whole host of other people. It's just like a really proud place to be from.
Yeah.
But I want to take it back to when I first started seeing you really coming up and when you started playing for St. John's, you know what I'm saying? And at that point, you know, me and Prodigy career was just taking off and we kind of out of here. And, you know, I would get the reports back like, yo, Ron doing this thing, da da da. I'm like, yo, we're gonna have somebody from the hood that actually has a shot. And I want to ask you this: was that pressure? Did that feel like pressure on you at that point once you got to college?
It was becoming a little bit pressure because like while my brother just went to jail, so like my whole plan was I'm gonna get ready to go to the league. I mean, I was doing good in school, but I was never focused on like being street smart, even though all of our friends are street smart. So my whole thing was Wally was gonna be right by my side. So I wasn't really worried about like anything else. I'm gonna go do my thing on the court. My brother gonna handle like everything that comes with being from Queensbridge, which is a lot.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all the requests and the friends, because you love your friends. And so when he went to jail, right when I was going to college, that really kind of messed me up because I was like, damn, like the whole strategy's gone. So then I had to get with some other friends because I knew it was going to be a whole nother dynamic. And then the pressure started I already had a baby at that time. So that was like also kind of rough because I chose to focus on ball rather than, focus on being in the crib for month 1, month 2, month 3.
Right.
I had to make that decision, which was a tough decision. Then I had my second baby in college. My ex-wife, she's my good friend of mine. She's a good friend of mine to this day from AQ. So, then we had our second baby. We got 3 babies together. So it was kind of tough. And then the pressure of just like, the whole hood is like family, but it could be a lot.
Right.
Because like I'm cool with everybody, like every block. So it's like,
right.
Yo, what up? What we doing? So I got to give everybody my time, which is like a blessing in disguise. But that was the roughest part. Like not really, giving so much of my time.
Right.
To everybody.
Now, I hear you. Todd, you had a question?
Yeah, Metta, I wanted to ask you, and kind of in that same time frame, like growing up in QB, what were some of the lessons from the hood that you took with you that helped you navigate your college career and then into the NBA?
Yeah, some of the things in terms from a basketball perspective, we had nothing but Division I and Division II players in our hood. I just told you the memory of when Havoc played ball. I remember those clearly. And then the people that was on that court, from Ronald to 12 to Killer Shot. I remember when Shawnee made Killer Shot fall on 12th Street. I remember when Mike Chatfield hit a game winner from half court in the dime blocking. It was so much talent in Queensbridge. It was insane. It was nothing but Division II and Division I ballers. And when you look at the lineage of the professional athletes, Vern Fleming, 10th Street, Olympian, Sean Green, Nas Block, Ronnie Williams, Celtic tryout, Mel, my goodness, Mel gonna kill me. Sorry, Mel. Mel played at Virginia, taught me how to shoot with my left hand, played with Rick Carlisle. Then the players that didn't make it, like Kenny Ito, played with Raj, got shot in his groin, career was over at 18. Like the talent level I played with, and that's like 10%. That's not even everything. Right. That's not counting Lloyd. That's not counting Capone. I seen Capone had 69. I played with Capone, and one Levy had 69 points. Like I've never had 69 points, and it's like that type of that talent level. I learned a lot from G. Remember G? He lived on our block, lived in the middle building, Mike DeLorean building. But playing half court on with him on 12th Street was some of the most cerebral games I've ever played in, because it's a different game when you playing half court versus just playing full court. In a half court game, you got to think it through, and you got to get a stop. So if you're doing a pick and roll, because if you're doing a pick and roll with 3-on-3, you got to help and get back to an open shooter. So playing half court on the block really took me to the next level, and then I was able to get on the court at about 12 years old. So when I started to make it on the court, playing against Joe, playing against Riley, playing against,
Right.
Super Ed, or playing against like Edo. All these are all high level basketball players. So by the time I got to the college and the league, as you can see, I wasn't jumping high. I wasn't averaging a lot of points. I was just doing a lot of little things, and people was like, I was just dominating games based off. It wasn't like dunking. You never see me. You ain't got no highlights of me dunking on nobody. It was all like things I learned from Charles Street, things I learned from 10th Street.
No doubt.
That's
And one thing I wanted to ask you also, you mentioned all of those great people from our hood that they was D1 and D2 players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's undisputable. But why do you think they didn't make it, but you made it? And I would like to attribute that to discipline. Do you feel like you had more discipline than the next person, or what you think it was?
Well, it's a mix, man. Because like you even look at RIP Bantu. Like I went to school with Bantu, right? I remember when I would look at his tests to pass my tests. Bantu never got less than a 98 on a test.
Look at that. Look at that.
And a lot of people don't know that. I was telling some of our friends, I was in school with Bantu. And Bantu, so from that, but when you look at his house situation, I don't know his pops, I know his moms. I love his mom.
Right.
That was a tough situation.
Yeah.
So when you look at, I remember when I was going to high school, and when I was in high school, I was already doing my thing. I don't know where everybody else was at. I didn't really understand where everybody else was going, but then I get back and I'm going to college, and I saw Bantu because I didn't see him for a while. And I was like, yo, what college you going to? And he looked at me like,
college.
I was like, what college you going to? He was like, I'm like, what?
Right.
As things go on, you're like, damn, like, and he's somebody that always stands out to me. Because it's not about the discipline. Sometimes, your parents are not there. Like, you don't have your parents. Your dad is locked up. Your mom is just trying to make it. Back then, the men didn't look at women how we look at women today. So our women in our neighborhood, they were just women.
Right.
We didn't look at them as women with value.
Right.
You know what I mean? So from that perspective, how do they feel? So how are they going to raise a child when the child's not really taught to respect a woman like she's a queen? So it's like all those different dynamics. And yeah, I got a different work ethic. That is 100% sure. I've been through things in my household where I was just trying to tune it out. It was just so, I was just like, I needed basketball. And when I go home, I started with a 60 average. I was failing in LaSalle. Then my average just started taking off. My senior year, I had a 95 average. Princeton sent me a letter. So I could have went to Princeton on academic scholarship. That's how hard I was doing. A lot of people didn't realize that. But I remember being home, and what I would do is, like, when things get crazy in the crib, I'll just go outside and do my homework in front of, Shawnee there, everybody. I'm like, he blowing it down. I'm just like doing my math homework. Like,
right. Straight up.
I just need to be outside because I can't. Yeah, man.
Straight up. I mean, and that's so dope. I think early on, people saw your path and they saw you where you was going, and they ain't even try to bother you with the BS. You know what I mean? To be like, yo, come on, like put you in bad situations. You know what I'm saying? I think for the most part, I think the hood protected you, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You see Ron is like, if anything happened to him, something happening to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody letting this the one right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ron, he's the one. You had the hood on your back, kid. Like, you really had the hood on your back. And when I see you to this day and for the rest of my life, it's like, I'm just so proud of you. Like, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And I never until now, actually for anything, I was like, yo, Ron, could you come on to the podcast? You know what I'm saying?
You don't even know. That's a whole
because I know, coming from where we come from, we have the hood on our back. And then when you come to a certain level, it's like everybody is just asking you for everything. And how did you navigate through that? Because that's like a slippery slope. You know what I mean? Because you got friends on one hand. You don't want to say no, but then you know that you have a path that you have to go on because you can't say yes to everybody.
Yeah. There's a lot to that. So for one, I was honored to come on this show. Like when I walk in the club, they play Mobb Deep. Like I be feeling good, man. I go there, Metta's in the building. They start playing shook-ons all the time.
Straight up.
Or whatever they're going to be. Then I, all the countless times I listen to the music, but I think like I remember even my DeLorean, man. I remember I had nothing. I ain't have nothing, and he would give me $1, $2. No doubt. You know what I mean? Like, so from my perspective, I had so many people, from the block that would, give me $1. I needed that $1 to get something to drink.
No question.
So, from that perspective, like I never took it personal,
right?
Or I never felt too much pressure when I had to help somebody. I felt great. Now, being a 19-year-old kid, you get $1 million contract. It's only $500,000 after tax. You don't really understand all that stuff, But I felt like one thing I would do differently, and if I was somebody coming up from the hood, if you really want to take it to the next level, you gotta wait to give, even if it destroys the friendship. It's not about that person. Yeah, they might be hungry, and you're gonna feel bad. But if you look at all the capital that people from our neighborhood generated for themselves in their pockets, right? And when you look at other people that generated the same amount of capital, whether you're an athlete or not, and you look at how they scaled and how they bought strategic properties and different things and where they're at, and then where are people that made 100 grand, 150 grand. A lot of people touch 500 grand in our neighborhood. A lot of people touch $1 million.
Right.
Really people really touch that, but it was just, we didn't have the guidance because we didn't have that father figure or mother figure that understood, generational wealth planning. Nobody's thinking about generational wealth planning to pass it back down with tax strategies and loopholes and insurance loopholes and everything legal and just passing it down, right. And so from that perspective, I don't feel bad about how I spent bread with my friends in my hood. No question. I don't feel bad. I don't regret it. I never regret it. Now I'm doing things differently now, but I would never change anything. It was a lot though, because I treated people just like I treat my kids in the hood. I didn't treat nobody from, whether it was somebody from 12th Street or 10th Street or Vernon, I didn't treat them no differently than I would treat my daughter or my son.
No doubt.
But at a point in time, people don't realize like it's a burden, and at the end of the day, I did this, not you. So from that perspective, what I want to do now is I want to go do it bigger, and I need you to come with me. And if you can't come with me today, then I'll see you in 3 years or 10 years from now, and I'll tell you how to do it. Or if you want to come with me today, well, this is how it needs to be. It's not like, and some people mistaken like evolution for being snobby or now you too good. Nah, I just evolving. I'm meeting different people. So my vocabulary is changing. My jargon is changing. It's not that I'm better than you, but it's just that I have a different experience. And you know what? I want to share it with you because I think you have the potential. But so sometimes if you haven't gone through those, journeys and experiences, and then it's like, nah, I don't really understand. Right. And that's the part that kills me to this day. Sometimes I go back home and I'll be strictly talking business. If you ain't talking business, we ain't talking. How can I help you? You know what I mean? Like, I only got 1 hour here because I got to hop on the flight. So like, what are you working on? What advice can I give you? Because I don't have much time. Sometimes I just go there like that. I don't care about old times. I don't want to talk about barbecuing. I want to talk about how can I help you because I don't have a lot of time. Because my time is like super tight.
Right. So, absolutely.
And that's coming back because like, if you look at, how and I'm like, I look at like Hostile, my brother-in-law. He got 3 kids with my sister, like, and I look at even when HOSTLIE came out, and we have these and we got these gems, and it's like you make this capital, and then it's like it kills me because I could have been in a situation where shit I spent all my money. Right. I look at these situations and I'm just like, man, I wish like I could take it back and help them with a tax strategy, help them, get a crib. Like, you don't need the chain, you need the crib. You don't need a car, you need a Prius.
Right. For real. Word. For real. And to add to that, it's all about time management, right? When you get older, it's all about time management because your time is very valuable and people don't understand that. You know what I mean? They like, huh? What? It's like a foreign language to them. Like, yo, look, what's up? Give me your elevator pitch now because I gotta be somewhere. You know what I mean? If you can't tell me in 1 minute what you need to tell me, I'm not trying to curb you or nothing like that, but time is of the essence, and we only got but so much time in one day. I'm not trying to curb nobody. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say with children, you got your children too.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying. So, to anybody out there that feels like Havoc curbs you, no, it's time management. Nobody's trying to curb you or slide on you. No, it's time management, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So, you had the discipline. You've been through the trials and tribulations of what you've been through, and I believe that the hood is always, we talk about the negative aspect of the hood, but to me, in my mind, the hood is positive in a way where it made us who we are today. You know what I'm saying? Right. It shaped, it molded us, how we think, and that was one level, right? And then you just said how, now I'm with different people. You know what I'm saying? You want to get in a room of people that are even better than us, so we could just, learn off and feed off of that energy. You know what I mean? Because if you hang with people that are like, you're never going to stop hanging out with people that you love. You know what I'm saying? Regardless,
sure.
It's all good. But you always have to try to like elevate to another level to get into a room of people that you aspire to get to that level. There's always another level. I'm always a life student of life. You know what I'm saying? I'm always willing to learn. There's never going to be a moment in my life where I'm not learning something. Somebody younger than me could teach me something that I didn't know, and I won't feel no kind of way about it. You know what I mean?
Now, Metta, I want to ask you a question about what you're doing currently, but I gotta ask you this one question right now because it's something that has always been on my mind. And it's an infamous moment for you. We talking about the hood and you coming up in QB. We always hear about rappers, like rappers are always shouting out their hood all day. And for me, the craziest moment I think I've seen in sports, it's at least one of my top 5 moments, is you and Craig Sager and you saying to him, say Queensbridge, and just you repping the hood in that platform, in that moment. Can you just talk a little bit about just the pride in the hood and what it meant for you to be at that point? You could have said anything else. You could have talked about the game. You could have talked about your performance. You said, say Queensbridge, and was like, all right, I'm out, and ran off. Can you just share a little bit about what that moment was for you?
Man, I love Queensbridge, man. Like, I had somebody to look up to. I had Nas to look up to. I had Mobb Deep to look up to. I had other people to look up to that you don't know. From the Carl Austins of when you getting in trouble and somebody else is going to smack you in the back of the head. Somebody, the hood was just so nurturing, and then also when you see what people went through and what people was going through and getting arrested and just like, it's just the love is, just undeniable. And I remember when Havoc and them would come back and I would be watching because I wasn't popping just yet, but I'd be like, damn, that's a lot of pressure. I remember seeing it because I was just like, I'm like, damn. So I think just shouting out Queens is always like, I never wanted people to think I forgot. I was really big on that. Even when I first made it, when I got drafted, I shouted out Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep was the first one I shouted out. When I got drafted,
that was great.
Like, shout out to Mobb. We in the building. Like, I was like, wow, I'm here. And now I get a chance to join Nas. I get a chance to join the Mobb. I don't give enough credit to like MC Shan or like Roxanne Shante. Because Mobb and Nas so big, right? So it's like you always like those are the first ones that come to your mind. And it's just like even when I got drafted and I went to Chicago, I would drive back on Fridays to Queensbridge just to be home for like, I don't even know, 16 hours before I got to get back to practice. Like I hated being away from home because I didn't feel comfortable around I didn't feel comfortable in the suburbs. I only feel safe in Queensbridge.
Right. In the war zone. You only feel safe in the war zone.
It's crazy because like even in New York, I never lived in New York but Queensbridge. And I was always like fearful. I didn't know where to live. I only know like Queensbridge. So I actually tried to get an apartment in Queensbridge when I was like drafted, and they said they tried to charge me $5,000 a month. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm from here. You can't charge me $5,000 a month. I want to pay $800. Like, I was.
And let me just jump in real quick. When I said no matter how much loot I get, I'm staying in the project. You could relate to that now. You know what I'm saying? They thought I was bugging when I said that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the only one that felt like that. You felt that, right?
Man, that bar is crazy. Like, when you were just listening to that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just me. It's that you got fans all over the world, so you know what type of thing you're doing sonically to people. So, and being from there and actually being on the third floor, knowing exactly where your door's at, and that music is in the club, and everybody just going crazy. Like I be feeling like I'm half. Sometimes I'm feeling like they be like I have not here, but I'm here. Shit.
No doubt. And you was representing to the fullest because I know wherever you went, they automatically thought of QB. They was like, oh boy, there he go. That's QB right there. Because you represented it to the fullest. Like I remember watching you on TV, and every chance you got, you was repping QB. And I just thought that was so cool, man. You know what I mean? You never forgot where you came from. Like you
always did something. And even rapping, I was never rapping until I got it. When I made it, and then I saw all my other friends, as you know, all my friends and all of our friends, and they was trying to take your footsteps. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna help them get there. You know what I mean? Right. So, and I didn't really understand the business at this time, but I'm like, all right, cool. All right, I got you. I'm gonna sign you. Let's just following Mobb Deep footsteps. Let's follow in. And even when I was doing my music, I was like, damn, I was always listening to y'all music, and I actually had to stop listening to y'all music in the games because it was getting me too amped up. I ain't gonna lie. I stopped listening to Mobb Deep like 2007. I could not listen to Mobb Deep.
It's like, yo, chill. Somebody about to get hurt on this court, man. For real. I used to get worried. I say, yo, man, they done found the wrong person now. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that.
I had to turn the channel like, hell, no more. Mary J. Blige, that's it.
Metta, can you for there's some people who might not even understand like the relationship that you had with hip hop. You had True Warrior Records. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like having a label, maybe some of the artists that you had signed on your label?
Yeah, for sure. Like, for me, and then, growing up in my household, I had stuff to get out too. And my friends was going in the studio and they were just spitting, and I'm like listening to their lyrics, and I can, you can see what they're talking about, you hear some of the stories and it's like, dang, I got something I want to, it's a different, coming from a different perspective, because it was more in my house that was things that was like, wow, so I was trying to get that out and I didn't know how to express myself. So initially Nature wrote my first rhyme actually. Oh, wow. And I was just going to college. So Nature wrote my first rhyme. And then I said, you know what? I want to focus on ball. So then I signed the law. That was my first sign right after it was with Mariah Carey. Some things, it was pretty good signing. Then I also worked with some people in the neighborhood like Chalice. I signed Ruck. I was trying to sign Chinky. I actually wanted that was the first artist I wanted was Chinky. I wanted not to take it from the mob, but I wanted to put money behind it. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
I wanted to put some money behind it, and then I couldn't quite communicate like what I wanted to do with Chinky. So then I went to Foul Monday, her cousin. So then I was going to find Foul Monday, and then I was actually walking around the hood one day. I couldn't find Foul. So then I ran into Chalice. I said, all right, cool, I'm starting here with Chalice. And then that's how that worked out. Then I signed this girl from China. I put out my album. I wish I would have had writers, honestly, because I knew that people was expecting, like K-Slade did my first record. K-Slade plays the record, and it was crazy because we was in Castle Hill. We recorded. And then we had no mix on the record. This is my first record out to the market. So we had no mix on the record, no 808s, no drums, nothing. So they play it. He plays it on the radio, and the next day people was like, "Yo, that shit is trash." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Hell no, my shit ain't trash." So I'm like, "What are these dudes talking about?" And then when I think about it, I'm like, "I gotta come professional. I can't cut corners." So my first record into the market, it was a dud. Like no mix, the snares, there was nothing, and so after that, I never really took the time to compose a record. I didn't take the time to do certain things. So my as an artist, that part never really took off like I wanted it to take off. But in terms of like being involved and I definitely had a few artists that I like, and I had one record that did pretty well. It's called Champion. That was probably like my biggest record, but that was the only one to really like kind of take off.
Hell yeah. And would you ever consider, coming back into the music game at all, signing artists? I mean, your love for music is going to be forever, but did you ever consider that ever?
Yeah, I did. Like, one of the issues I had also with artists was like not being able to execute. So since I went through that whole issue, I went through a lot in music, which I think about it differently. So I think about it more from an administration perspective, more from a tax perspective, like still being in music, but being able to help artists, kind of navigate that side, put money away, go buy a crib. You don't need a chain, go, your music's gonna speak for itself. And then in terms of me, if I was gonna do music, it would have to be like an art piece. Like it would literally, I would definitely have a writer and then explain my story, and I would want to have that story come out. But I've been through a lot in music. I got burnt out, honestly. So I took a long time. Even when I invested in the stories out there, when I invested in Bars and Hooks, and then it was like so many things just go wrong. Like I'm doing this, I'm trying to do right, but so many things just is going wrong. I'm just like, I don't even understand it. Like I signed the law, then the brawl happens. Everything's going right. The brawl happens. Boom, that's over. I signed Bars and Hooks. I'm like, that's over. And then I signed. So I was pretty like burnt out for a long time.
Yeah, I hear you with that. And another thing I was thinking about was I remember I got a phone call a few years back, and they said, "Hey, Metta's doing a documentary," and I was there. To do the documentary. Did you have was that your idea to come with the documentary, or did people come to you like, "Yo, you should," because your life is a documentary, and I believe, and it's still going, by the way, you know what I mean? How was it making that documentary? How long did it take you?
Well, that doc, I didn't even know you was gonna be on it till I saw the trailer.
They surprised you. Look at that.
I was surprised. I was like, this is crazy. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, because I wanted Eye for an Eye to open up the record.
Oh wow.
That's what I wanted. That's my favorite record. Like,
do a remix. Do a remix documentary. Do a remix documentary.
Exactly, man. They be avoiding me because they know that's my only question I have was, who's the music director?
Right.
Why did you pick? Like, I love Uchiwali, but I would have rather have like, New York State of Mind.
Right.
Give me Uchiwali. Give me New York State of Mind, or give me Eye for an Eye. Right. So that process, that's what was on my mind in that documentary. As people was like, "Man, that's a great doc." In my mind, I was like, I don't like this at all. But I really want an Eye for an Eye on my doc, man.
No, that the documentary was dope, and that's art for you, man. Like when you are creating something and you have people helping you, and then you get the final product. I got several videos that I'm like, God damn, I don't like that part. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you live with it. Or there's rhymes that I've written that I'm like, damn, I could have said it a different way. Or there's a beat that I could have added a 808 to and stuff like that. But for the most part, you know what I mean? I love the name, you know what I'm saying? Quiet Storm. That was
crazy. That was crazy. What did you think about that?
No, I fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, what else better name could it be? You know what I'm saying?
I love the name. When the name came out, I mean, I ain't speak to y'all about it. I was like, how they gonna pull this off?
You you ain't have to speak to nobody about it. You know what I'm saying? If you doing it, it's done. You know what I'm saying? All jokes aside, like, cause I was on it. You know what I'm saying? That you would even name it that. And it's so crazy. That name in associating with you, affiliation to you, I went to a St. John's game, I would say like last year, you know what I mean? And they did a whole like commercial for the new squad, and with the Quiet Storm theme and all of that. So you left like a crazy lasting, and they said that you still be going in, just be like you know what I'm saying? Like you part of that organization.
Yeah, I love St. John's. They did a lot for the career. You know, going from Queensbridge to St. John's is incredible. I tried to go to the Knicks, but that didn't work out. But yeah, St. John's is incredible. And even at St. John's, man, they would play the music on the layup line and all that. But it's definitely a hell of an experience where we come from, and seeing where we at now, and still having people feel, you know, that passionate about, you know, where we from is just like incredible.
Nah, it really is, man. And when I was first thinking about the podcast, I was like, okay, you know, say sports and hip hop, but nah, I'm renaming it. It's called the Kings of Queens. We got 3 kings in here. We from Queens, you know what I'm saying? Queens get the money, you know what I mean? It's like just to have you here, and yo, what an honor it is just to have you in here. And I know there's going to be so much more to come from you. You know what I mean? You growing every day. It's just it's incredible to witness. Todd, you had one more question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah, I wanted to Metta, if you could tell us a little bit about the work you're doing now and how your influences from hip hop, and then also the work that you did in sports, how all of that kind of helps to contribute to the work that you're doing today.
Yeah, definitely. You know, from a hip hop perspective, just learning the ins and outs of like business, and then also you don't have to rap to have bars. You know, I can go to Princeton and that's a bar. Like, you know, because like, what else are we gonna do? You know, if we can't make it in rapping, if we can't make it in balling, if you're telling me that's my only options, then there's gonna be people like that that's going to jail or that type of stuff. Like, I'm not gonna let you set that barrier on me, you know, and that's why I went Harvard School. And you know, when I retired, I was like worried because I was saying, what am I going to do? I'm only a ball player. And I remember I was like super stressed. And I woke up one day, I'm just like, hold on, man, you got a letter from Princeton. You know, if you want to launch your business and you're trying to be like, you know, your new role models, you know, executives, chairmen and stuff like that. Well, what did they do? I'm like, damn, they went back to school. Go back to school. I was actually literally having a conversation with myself. And so I went back to school. I went to UCLA, did like digital analytics. I took coding. I did business analytics at another university. I did Google Analytics in Vancouver. So I learned how to work like a lot of different technology, because one of the issues I had was we never dictated our path. It was always brands and companies like paying us to do something. But I wanted to be on the bottom and the back end and on the administration side. So I said, I'm just going to go in and just do that. So it was so I was in school for like a couple years. Then at one point in time, I told my team, I said, listen, I'm gonna be away for like 6 months. So do what y'all gotta do, but you might not hear from me. I really just dove deep, you know, into the space. And now, you know, 8 years later, you know, we're trying to build a firm, like any other institution out there, you know, working with a lot of different people from great colleges and great institutions, you know, institutions we all know about. And I'm literally trying to build a firm. It's been a little difficult because people look at me as like a defensive player or this guy that hustles on the floor. They don't see like what I'm, you know, the side of the Princeton side that I'm applying to this era of my life. And they can't fathom when I walk into a meeting. But I'm, you know, it took a couple of years, and now, you know, I got a logistics company, which I'm really excited about. We have a CPA accounting firm, you know, where we work with athletes to this day, you know, things that we just built from scratch. And, you know, from that perspective, still in sports, but I got a bunch of companies now that we're working with. And, but it's still a lot of work, you know, and artestmanagementgroup.com is the website and all that stuff.
artestmanagementgroup.com. So that's popping. We could go to that right now, and you got it popping over there. That's
it's
what's
a business page, kind of like a boring page, but you can
Nah,
see what we're doing.
boring is good. You know what I'm saying? We've been through all of the, you know what I'm saying? boring
Boring
is
is
good.
good.
Boring is good, man. Yo, I'm so happy to see you. I want to thank you for coming on, man. It was such a pleasure. And to see the next phase of what you're doing, I love to hear that, because even rappers and artists is like, you know, hip hop should always just be a stepping stone. You know what I'm saying? Sports is a stepping stone, because, you know, you can't play forever, obviously, you know what I mean? Because we all get older. And this is definitely like something for the kids. I hope the kids could watch this and learn that, you know what I mean? You know, one thing leads to another, you know what I'm saying? And that's what it's all about. So this is definitely an inspiration. It's an inspiration to me, you know, and I know it's an inspiration to everybody that's out there watching. And we look more for, you know, more from you, like seeing nothing but great things. When you said Princeton, that messed my head up, man. I love that, man. So yo, thank you for coming on, Metta, for real.
Yo, thanks for having me, Todd. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate
Yo,
it.
Metta, good seeing you. And yo, and it just dawned on me, like when you were talking about St. John's, yo, I did my doctorate at St. John's. So that's just a whole nother connection right there. So when you talking about discipline and not being boxed in, it's just crazy to see that progression. So thank you for sharing that part of the story. I feel like we hear a lot about the Queensbridge part. We hear a lot about the NBA, the hip hop, but sometimes we don't get the other end of that journey, right? Where you doing all of this other stuff, and really influencing not only the young people, but even I'm sure the work that you're doing with some of the players to this day is influential, helping them not make some of the mistakes you may have made before. So
yeah, definitely. I love to talk about my failures, because if I don't talk about my failures, how is somebody gonna learn? You know, from not just Queensbridge, but from anywhere. Like, how are you gonna learn when you get to a point where you're making some bread? I need to tell people about my failures as well as the successes. You know, so you can take that and then, you know, carry it on. They do put us in a box, and you know, if you got a rap or you got a ball, or they meet you, hey, you know, I love that show you did the other day. Not really interested on the business side, and people should not be boxed in. You know, you should be able to live freely no matter what hood. You can still be hard and be a nerd. Like, who cares? Like, maybe you grew up tough, but why not go get a job? Why not try to, you know, why not study? You got time to study. You got time to talk on the block all the time. Why not just take 2 days and, you know, one day you're on the block, next day you're in the book, next day you're on the block, next day you're in the books. Like, you know, give yourself a shot, you know, and don't be boxed in, you know, and that's something that's one reason why I am also like to tell people I had a letter from Princeton, because people see me, they know where I'm from. I represent Queensbridge, but they never hear me talk about, oh yeah, no, I did go back to school. I did study for my Series 7. I did try to become someone who could invest, you know, people's money, because, you know, and my own. Like, I went through that whole process. I went through those processes, you know, and you can do the same. Like, yeah, and respect me for that. Don't see past like, oh, you know, Metta's like a coon or whatever. Now, like, you know, we evolve, and I want people to know, yeah, you don't only have to rap, you don't only have to ball, and don't be boxed in, like you said, Todd.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing that with us, Metta, for real.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. Honor.
Yo, much love to you. Much love and success. I'll see you again soon out there on the other on the west side. You know what I mean? But yo, thanks again, man. Couldn't thank you enough. Thank you, everybody. Thank y'all. We out.
All right, y'all.